Okay, good. And is someone going to do that with you, or are you doing that by yourself?
I'm doing that by myself.
All right.
Because
very good.
okay. Hello everyone. Okay. So are we ready to start, Michael?
I've got about 30 seconds to go before the top of the hour, but my watch may not be totally accurate.
Okay, so we wait
yes,
for
we're
30
ready
seconds.
to go. Okay.
Okay, hello everyone. Hello Michael, hello Jadin, hello Muhammad. And I think you're still in the Egypt, and I believe that there's a lot of people in the Lucid Training Center. So hello everyone in there, and hello everyone. Welcome. I'm Yudi from Indonesia, and it's always nice to have this session, the SNS Wisdom session. So before we start the session today, so good evening, good morning, good afternoon for each one of you. We have a very different time zone. In here, it's already at night. Okay, so before we start, I believe that I'm going to introduce our institute, because we are from all around the world, right? And that's the beauty of us. So let's start with the introduction of our institute first. And please, every time your institute is being called, just have a greeting from your own language, so we can have this diversity being celebrated. Okay? So,
yes.
The first one, let's welcome the Institute of NeuroSemantics Africa.
Bonjour. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Bonjour, bonjour.
Yeah. And this year, the NSTT will be sponsored, I think, by the Institute of NeuroSemantics Africa, right? Okay.
And Egypt and Mauritius.
Egypt and Mauritius. Yes. Thank you, Michael. And the next one is the Institute of NeuroSemantics Australia. Make your sounds. Hey, mate.
Good day. Good morning.
Good day, mate.
Good morning. Okay, and the next one is the Institute of NeuroSemantics Brazil.
Hello. Good morning.
Hello. Hello.
Afternoon,
Good
good
morning.
evening.
Bom dia. Bom dia.
Bom dia.
Bom dia.
Wow, very beautiful. Okay, and the next one is the Institute of NeuroSemantics Egypt, Middle East, and North Africa. Hello, everyone. And the next one is the Institute of NeuroSemantics Europe and Scandinavia. Have the sounds, please. Okay, and the next one is the Institute of NeuroSemantics Hong Kong and China. Hello, ni hao. Yes. And the next one is from my country, Institute of NeuroSemantics Indonesia. Hello, apa kabar? Do I by my own? Where's the Indonesian people? Okay. And the next one is the Institute of NeuroSemantics Latin America.
Bravo. Woo.
Saludos.
Saludos.
Okay. And the next one is the Institute of NeuroSemantics Malaysia, Philippines, and Singapore. Where's the sound?
Hello,
okay.
selamat datang.
Selamat datang. Okay. And the next one is the Institute of NeuroSemantics USA. Okay. Okay, so that's the celebration of our institute from all around the world. I believe that more will come, more will join. Some people are still maybe on the preparation to join. I believe that we'll have more people to join this session. And like usual, we will have a lot of wisdom. We will have a lot of learning from Michael. Will be presenting some topic from his newest book about strategic thinking, I believe. So, Michael,
All right.
the place is
So,
yours.
are the slides up on the screen yet? So they're up on the screen?
Mohammed, check.
Okay.
Oh, yes,
Yes.
already, yes.
So this is the newest book. Can you see me? There it is.
Yes.
The newest book, Thinking Strategically, a deep dive into how to become a skilled strategist. So that's what we're doing today, becoming a skilled strategist. Anybody interested in that? A strategy is about how to think about how to get what you want. It's the opening question we always ask in any coaching session. What do you want to achieve? That's going to be really important for you. And that is a strategic question. And the answer will be a strategic answer, hopefully. And so what we want to do is to talk about thinking strategically, what it is, how it works, and how to understand it more effectively. So as to know how to step into a state where you can be more strategic. The subject is 7 surprises of strategic thinking. And in terms of these surprises, I was quite surprised when I started studying this. And as I continued the study, several things surprised me. Anytime I've been studying these thinking skills, I've been surprised again and again, whether it's hypnotic thinking, metaphorical thinking, humorous thinking, executive thinking, all of the thinking skills are full of surprises. And strategic thinking, I identified 7 really surprises that I'd like to share with you today. And so we'll be looking at all of these surprises. And the interesting thing about these surprises is that each surprise will tell you more about strategic thinking. Each surprise will help you now to take your next step into really developing your strategic thinking. So that's what we're going to do with what we're doing here. So whenever people ask, what is strategic thinking? We get answers like these here. It's knowing how to do something. And that's true. It is knowing how to do something. It's being deliberate. And again, that's true. It's now becoming mindful and deliberate and intentional and purposeful. It's being careful and making fewer mistakes. Well, that's kind of true. There is a carefulness to it. There is a thoroughness to it. But the focus is not on avoiding mistakes as much as it is doing what it takes to achieve what you want. And then the last one here, being disciplined and procedural. It is procedural because that's what strategic thinking is. What's first step? What's next step? What's next step? Getting it in the right order and having that sequence. But as you can see from the bullet points here, these statements poorly define strategic thinking. Strategic thinking is so much more than these 4. These do not direct a person to the true brilliance of a desired outcome. Would you like to know the true brilliance of a desired outcome? Well, that's what we're going to talk about. And so strategic thinking starts here, but it's so much more. Now, here's a diagram, and as you look at it, strategic thinking involves many things. And here's a list of things. You can see the SWOT analysis, the strategic planning, the purposeful goals, the gap analysis, the initial options, the operations. And yet those 6 things there in that list barely begins to list what strategic thinking is. We also need to add desire, passion, feedback, resources, testing, meaning, intention, collaboration, problem solving, and on and on and on. So it's a lot more than just that. In fact, it touches on almost everything that we do in neurosemantics. It touches on almost everything that's really important for us humans. So we think about strategic thinking, and here's the beginning understanding of strategic thinking. It's thinking in terms of what you want, how to get there. What you want and how to get there. So the outcome. So the outcome, the process. So strategic thinking is going to be intentional, purposeful, and goal-oriented. That's the very heart of it. And if you were to ask me, what's the formula? I would point to that last bullet point. It is a now, then formation. Where am I now? Where do I want to go? How do I get there? So now then, a time element, a temporal understanding, now then is at the very essence.
Yeah, I think there's a free screen. Is it a signal or okay? It's technology, right? It's Zoom frozen. I think because the Zoom is get cold, I think. So it's frozen. Okay, so we're going to wait. I think there might be a problem. Yeah, there will be a problem. So just wait for a moment. Be patient. Okay, I think we have a lot more people to come to join. So welcome everyone. Michael is just starting the presenting, and it's just in the beginning, and the Zoom get cold, I think. So it's frozen. Okay, and they back. Okay, please, Michael.
You got something for me, Yudi?
No, no, please, please start again.
Okay. I didn't know I stopped. So every kind of thought aims to achieve an outcome. And that's why strategic thinking involves, as with chess, thinking strategically what I want to accomplish. And it's going to be an active mind and an active heart. And if think about an Olympic runner who's at the gate, ready to run, waiting for the gun to go off, and he knows where he's going to run. He knows the other people running with him. He's got a strategic, and that's strategic thinking. Ready, fire, go. Strategic thinking is powerful and soft. So the first one is it's powerful. It is when you think strategically, you're establishing a self-organizing attractor. And that self-organizing attractor is going to organize you. It's going to organize your thinking. It's going to organize your feeling, you're speaking, you're behaving. That's the power of a self-organizing attractor, and therefore the power of strategic thinking. Be careful the strategy you want, the strategy that you're thinking about, because it's going to start organizing you. And as you'll see a little bit later, if you overdo it, if it gets in overdrive, it will drive you. It will cause addictions. It will cause compulsions. It will not serve you well. So when you set up strategic thinking, it sets up your direction, it sets up your orientation and your purpose. And so strategic thinking is activating all of these energies of your intentions. So pretty powerful. Strategic thinking is what some people who haven't decided, what do I want? So anybody unmotivated probably has not decided strategically what they want. And so I'm bored. Well, what do you want? So when you don't do strategic thinking and you're not doing the other two kinds of thinking, then life feels futile, meaningless, worthless, and you lose all energy. Now, the softness of strategic thinking is fallible, uncertain, matter of chance, plagued by unconscious factors. And so the softness of strategic thinking is that you set your aim, but your aim is fallible. You could be tricked. You could be disoriented. You could be distracted. And then, even though you're strategic, you're not achieving it. So the soft side of strategic thinking is be careful, go slow. There's no guarantees. It's not absolute. It's not strong like an absolute. And so we have to manage our strategic thinking in a healthy way. So the second one is that it's powerful and at the same time it's soft. Strategic thinking requires learning. That was the first surprise. Here's a seeming contradiction. Every kind of thinking you do involves strategic thinking. Are you a great strategic thinker? Maybe just a good one. Maybe just a competent one. There's a lot of people, they think strategically, but they don't think of it in a very effective, healthy way. They're poor strategic thinkers. So they set goals, but then they don't reach them. They set goals, but then they let all kinds of things distract and interfere with their goals. So to make it excellent, you have to learn it. You might be around an excellent strategic thinker, but you're not going to get it by osmosis. Oh, shoot. You're going to have to learn it. And so it's based on a set of skills and specific knowledge. How do I get there? And then what are the skills I need in order to get there? Most people, their strategic thinking is weak and ineffective. They're not being as productive as they want to be. They're not being as successful. They're not being efficient. And so learning how to do effective strategic thinking and to become a skilled, really skilled strategist. You can see on the screen here, learn the WFO, well-formed outcome pattern. That pattern, every single one of the 18 questions offers a sub-strategic question. It starts off with, what do you want? It goes to, why do you want that? Why is that important? That's a strategic question. Why is that important to you? When do you want to achieve that? Where do you want to achieve that? Who's involved in achieving that? What do you have to do to? Every single one of the 18 questions is a sub-strategic question. And when you learn it really well, you'll become pretty skilled at strategic thinking. Strategic thinking starts off by being linear, but it is both linear and meta. So you need to know the step, but you also need to know the thinking, the understanding, the believing, the deciding, the intending. You need to know all the meta frames that holds up that step. That's one of the reasons a lot of people, they take a step, they take the next step, but they don't have the meta structure of beliefs and understandings, memory, anticipation that supports it. So it's weak. So strategic thinking, the effort in strategic thinking is figuring out how to move from now to then. And it involves both what's above and what's below. And it involves a matter of learning these things. So that's our next, our third secret. Our next secret is a secret where you have to have it just right. It's the Goldilocks secret. You know about Goldilocks? Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Goldilocks was out in the woods and she stumbled upon the house of the bears. She goes into the bear's house and she sits down in Papa Bear's chair too hard. She sits down in Mama Bear's chair too soft. She sits in Baby Bear's chair just right. She eats Papa Bear's portage and it's too hot. She eats Mama Bear's portage and it's too cold. She eats Baby Bear's and just right. Then she goes to bed. And one bed is too hard, one bed is too soft, one bed is just right. Strategic thinking is relational, and the very question of thinking strategically, to the next one, where am I in relationship to X? That's the strategic question. Where am I in a relationship? So it's a relationship question. You've got to think relationally. This was a surprise. I didn't anticipate there would be so much of a social dimension or an interpersonal dimension with thinking strategically. So it's not a solo act. Because almost everything I want involves other people. Sometimes I need another person to go with me. Sometimes other people are going to receive what I want to do. Maybe they will purchase what I'm going to create. So it's not a solo act. It always involves other people. And so relational, first of all, where am I in relationship to my goals? Where are my goals in relationship to me? It's relational, you and another person. Where am I in relationship to this person? So you can think strategically about your relationships. Where am I in relation to my children? Where am I in relationship to my loved ones? Where am I in relationship to my family? Where am I in relationship to my friends and colleagues? So it's that's strategically thinking about relationships. Then there is you and your multiple goals and strategies, and they can conflict. So where am I in relationship to my career goals? Where am I in relationship to my health goals? Where am I in relationship to my love relationship goals? And do any of these relationships interfere with each other? Well, welcome to human life, because they will and they do. Where we and our collaborative outcomes. So we have many outcomes. So thinking strategically has this relational aspect to it, and you have to bring in the social dimension to be a great strategic thinker. Our next secret is the secret of how strategic thinking relates to self-actualization. So here we've got the self-actualization quadrants, and we got meaning axes, we got the performance axes, and then we've got that self-actualization zone. the flow zone. And the surprising thing here is that dreamers and performers have a different relationship to strategic thinking. Basically, the dreamers need to do more and better strategic thinking. They need to stop dreaming. You got your dream. Well enough. Just what are you going to do about your dream? Any dreamers in this room? Any dreamers online? What you got to do is learn strategic thinking. In fact, as I started thinking about this, I said to Geraldine one day when we were at Starbucks talking about all of this, I said, I think strategic thinking mainly, maybe only, is for dreamers. As we talked about it, this is where collaborative strategic thinking comes in. She gave me the idea that it's also for performers. Performers need to temper down their strategic thinking. Strategic thinking on overdrive is too much. It's always doing, always fixing, always reacting, always plotting, always planning, never resting, becoming too serious, becoming too goal-oriented. Results, results, results. So, any performers? If you're a performer, if you're an active person and you're always trying to do something, sometimes, in terms of being a skilled strategist, stop it. Stop doing that. Take a break. Because life is more than just results. Some managers and organizations need to learn that. Some leaders need to learn that. It's more than just, but like everything, you learn something like strategic thinking, and if you get really good at it, and then it habituates, it can drive you crazy. So performers need to access one or two of the non-strategic thinking skills. So now we got this diagram, and what this means is strategic thinking is related to flow. How do you get into flow? And this is where the Goldilocks secret is. You find not too much meaning, not too much performance, but just the right amount, and it puts you in the flow zone. So whatever dream you have, whatever rich meaning you have, find a way to start acting on it, and it'll put you in the flow zone. Strategic thinking is related to flow. That was a big surprise. I ended up writing a whole chapter on strategic thinking and flow. And when you do that, when you get just the right amount, then you're not going to be in la-la land of dreaming and never doing it. And you're not going to be driven crazy with results. You're going to find that golden means in between that's just right. So the next strategic secret is that strategic thinking is unconscious. And so just with anything, when you habituate it, do it well, it will become unconscious. But then again, a lot of strategic thinking is already unconscious. So repetition will make it automatic. Once you set a self-organizing attractor, you'll go unconscious to it, and that self-organizing attractor will drive you. So make sure it's a good one. Make sure it's the right one. Physiological needs and drives. So we get hungry, we get sleepy, we get thirsty, we want to feel secure, we want to feel love and affection, belonging, a sense that I count. The first 4 levels of Maslow's hierarchy. And because of those, your brain automatically, unconsciously is looking for how to satisfy it. So strategic thinking, you cannot not think strategically. It's going to happen. Whether you do it well and appropriately and healthily, that's a whole other question. So how do you satisfy your sleep drive? How do you satisfy your eating or drinking or feeling secure. If you know how to do it, then it'll become a healthy habit, a healthy strategic thinking process. And if it's not, then it's going to be hurtful. Unconscious due to elicitation and priming of the environment. So even the environment, you go into an environment, and that environment, because of your thoughts about that environment, is going to urge you to act, to achieve something. If it's a noisy environment, you have a strategic need now to quiet it down. If it is a boring one, you have a need to excite it. If it is overwhelming, you have a need to manage it and reduce it. So there'll be that unconscious drive, strategic thinking drive to do things just because of the environment. You might look at your environment and ask, what goals automatically, unconsciously are elicited when I'm in this environment, when I'm in that environment. So it occurs unconsciously. Whatever habituates becomes unconscious. And this is where some people have identified a strategy, they've gotten really good at it, and now it drives them. And that leads us to our seventh and last surprise, and that is strategic thinking is biased for achievement. It's biased. When you're thinking strategically, you're biased. Now, biased thinking is usually not so good thinking. But here's a case where you're looking for how to be effective, how to be loving, how to raise healthy children, how to make money, how to make a good living. So those strategies, you're biased to achieve and be effective. So nothing wrong with it per se. With every strategy, you develop a vested interest in your outcome. You've got an agenda, and it then becomes unconscious. If you're unconscious of it, it will blind you to yourself and your agenda, to your own subjective thinking. And so that's why we want to be conscious of it. If it's helpful, it'll be automatic. And now you have efficiency. Now you have mental efficiency. If it's unhelpful and you don't know it, then it's going to drive you in a way that addictions drive us. If it's excellent, if you are biased for health, well-being, love, truth, justice, compassion, then it's going to make you a skilled strategist, and it's going to free your mind up and your time up for the next big thing. So, are you surprised? Are you surprised? Strategic thinking, nearly all thinking is involved in it. It's powerful, and at the same time, there's a soft side involving our fallibility. It is something learned. It is relational. You need to have just the right amount so that as a dreamer performer, you can integrate it, and then it puts you in flow. And it starts off unconscious, it will go unconscious. And so working to make it conscious so that you have choice. So with that, the art of becoming a skilled strategist, it's one thing having a strategy. It's another thing being a skilled strategist. You've got strategies. Are you a skilled strategist? Two different questions. You can make your dreams and hopes lived realities. And when you think strategically, you're on a mission. You've got a mission when you're thinking strategically. So thinking strategically is your secret weapon, your key to the treasury of success, effectiveness, and productivity. And so with that, well, finally, one more is that strategic thinking is by its very nature collaborative. And it's one of my hopes for the field of NLP, all the different institutes, that people will come together, think strategically in a collaborative way, and we can achieve so much more together than alone. And so if you're thinking, you're also questioning. What's your question? So back to you, Yudi. So we have a question on the board here. Any distinction between strategic thinking and process thinking? Well, the same thing. Because the process of how do you get there? Strategic thinking is what you want to achieve and how do you get there? Do you think could there be a behavioral benchmark for just right strategic thinking to become a skilled strategist? That is the play that we do when we contrast dreaming and performing. So whatever dream, as you do, just do something about it. Whatever you're performing, give it some meaning. And the benchmark will be, are you effective? So effectiveness becomes the benchmark. You're achieving something.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Michael. And any other question from, if you have a question, you can just type it on and I will read it out for Michael. Okay, so by waiting for the question from the others, what's interesting for me, Michael, is that it's like you say that strategist thinking is like our everyday doing, right? Because we have a desire, because we have an intention, we have an outcome. So it's like everything that, like every day we need to have a strategic thinking, because it's like everything, when I wake up, I already think about something that I want to achieve. And it's like something's very important.
Exactly. So it's built into your everyday thinking. The only question is it done well or is it done poorly?
Okay, so we still wait. If any other questions from
Any
the
other
others?
questions in this room? We've got a microphone in this room. Any questions here?
I have a question.
Okay, you get the mic.
So at what age can strategic thinking be developed?
Oh, well, it starts. Well, to think is to think strategically. So as soon as a child, you see this in the little children, I want that ice cream. And children then know, how am I going to get it? They know how to pull your heartstrings. They know how to manipulate you. And so they learn it really quick.
Okay, so how does that correlate to cognitive distortion because it's childish thinking, and how can they think strategically?
Well, strategically, they overgeneralize what they want. Strategically, they personalize everything that may have nothing to do with them. And so strategically, they're going to be awfulizing if they don't get what they want. So all the cognitive distortions can contaminate our strategic thinking.
And with the meta programs, the filtering, is that part of like strategic thinking? Or I think my question would be more of what meta programs will enhance strategic thinking?
Well, the most essential meta program for strategic thinking is number 40, goals striving. How do you strive towards your goals? In a perfectionistic way, in a skeptical way, or in an optimizing way? All of the other meta programs filter the way you think about your strategy.
Okay. I think that's a question, Michael, from Roy.
Okay.
Once you are able to determine the steps to achieving your goals, what is your suggestion on how to disregard distraction from the day-to-day or operational activities?
So this is where to really make your strategic thinking powerful, rise up in your intentions. So why is it important for me to achieve this? And when I achieve that, why is that important? And why is that important? As you rise up in your intent, you'll get intentional. The more intention, the more your attentions will do service. You'll be more on purpose. You'll be more dangerous because you're going to be after that goal, and it will create all kinds of energy. And with that energy, now distractions that don't fit will just not enter into it because your attentions will be doing service to your intentions. So I would say the intentionality pattern is the one to do that to eliminate the distractions.
Okay, thank you, Roy. And that's from Gyokni. Is a strategic thinking a continuum? There's a question from Gyokni. Is a strategic thinking a continuum?
Well, sure. Well, sure. So with anything, if it can be done poorly, if it can be done well, there's a continuum. And so where are you on the continuum? And that's why there's many resources that enable us to be more strategic. In asking the well-formed outcome questions, what do you want? What resources do you need? So that you can be more effective in that. Time management, managing yourself in time, being able to do the planning, being able to get the feedback. All of these things would put us on a continuum. And so now, where are you? Is it poor? Is it done well? Does it suck? No, that's under poor. It sucks now. And if you do it well, can you do it with excellence? Can you move it to where you're skilled as a strategist?
Okay. There's another one from Oma. Michael said strategic thinking is temporal. Is it affected by our notion of time? Thank you for elaborating.
Sure. And we're dealing with time from now to then. When is then? 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, 20 years? So time element. A lot of people do not do well strategically because they set a goal that should take 3 months and they want to do it this week. Not to point out anybody or look at anybody in particular. So do you give yourself time to achieve the goals that you want to? And most of the time when we set the goal, it's too short and we have to keep extending it and extending it. That's because we didn't think of all the contingencies, all the problems, all the distractions that's going to arise that we'll need to. So giving yourself some time is an important part of the temporal aspect of strategic thinking.
Okay, thank you. There's another one from Gyokni. How is the relationship between action plan and strategy, especially in the 18-way FO question?
Well, so once again, strategic thinking, now to then. What do I want? How do I get there? How do I get there is your plan. It's the strategy. It is the step of actions that have to be achieved so that you can reach the goal. So that's where action plan is how you do it. Dreamers dream of the outcome. Performers think about the action. And we need to do both.
Okay.
And
So, and
Mike,
that's another one.
speaking of
No, sorry.
in relation to the 18 questions, so when you came up with the 18 questions, I know it was from the modeling expert coaches. And when you identified in the book, in the thinking strategically, using the well-formed outcome pattern, in each of the question, there is a strategy behind the strategy of each.
Right.
And so how did you come up with the strategy for that?
So you want to know my strategy for strategizing about strategy.
Exactly.
Well, when my mind stops being dizzy, I'll tell you. Well, to achieve anything, even if it's a small thing like this next step, there's going to be a strategy. And so just asking, how do you do that? That led me to spending some time on each one and identifying it.
Would that correspond to, because you recently shared with us or gave the course on thinking for humans, and you were talking about the skill of organized thinking
Right.
that will enable us to do strategy. Is that what you were doing when you were writing about the 18 questions?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, organizing, because it seems that that is one of your strengths. That's why you're able to model, because your organized thinking skill
Right.
is so well organized, you can actually strategize and share the model with us.
Okay. So the answer is yes.
Okay.
Okay, I think that's a Kara raising hand. Kara, do you want to ask question? Carla?
Teresa,
Oh,
did you
okay.
say
I
Teresa?
think-
Teresa
No,
Chan?
Carla, raise hand.
Oh,
I thought
okay.
that. Okay,
Oh, she raised her
Carla,
hand.
yeah.
okay.
Please, Carla. Mm,
Hi, can you hear me?
yes.
Yes, you can hear.
Okay, great. Sorry, I am the interpreter. There is a question here on the other chat. It says, how can we have a good strategy to sell our trainings of neurosemantics?
Well, there happens to be a training called Selling Genius. 3 days for how to sell. There's also Inside Out Persuasion, both as a book and as a training. So those are strategies. Those are strategies for how to sell. The basic strategy is make sure you have value to offer. If you have value to offer and people want it, it meets their needs, you'll sell. Helping them to see how your product, your service, your information meets a need. But selling involves so much more, lots of different steps in doing it and doing it well. I think of selling not as me selling to them, but me helping them make a good decision, a great decision. And when they make when someone sold me something and it was a great decision, I like that selling. When someone was trying to push something on me that I didn't want, then that's not a good selling and not a good strategy. So I would recommend get to the books because there's a strategy and it's going to take some time and effort to learn that strategy.
Okay. Another one from Michael. How can modeling be used to replicate strategic thinking patterns of high achiever?
Well, find a high performance person, find an expert, and then just ask a lot of the strategy questions. I didn't introduce that here, but there's a lot of strategy questions. It's the whole process of modeling. And we've got numerous books in NLP on how to do that, how to model. So modeling can certainly be used. It is peeking into the mind of the expert, how they think, by which they can achieve an outcome that amazes the rest of us. So modeling. If you want one of the thinking books, How to Think Like a Modeler was what I wrote in 2018 to make clear what you asked earlier about how do you order that process.
Okay, thank you. There's another one from Shu Hong Ping, is that strategic thinking is learned. How to make use of the 7 learning dimension to learn strategic thinking?
Well, do it. open up the book on executive thinking and go through the seven stages of learning, strategic learning, go through the 7 steps and just take strategy as your subject. So just do it.
Hmm.
I
Okay.
think we should make that a brand name. Just do it.
Okay, another one from Roberia. When you act in fraction on the same goal, sometimes being a dreamer and sometimes a performer, how to achieve both in a continuum?
Well, always integrate the two. That's your meaning. What's your performance? That's your performance. What's your meaning? So just integrate the two. They're built into our mind-body system. We think, we act. We think, we speak. So we call that integrative thinking. When you think of something, be sure to commission your body to speak it, to act it, and then you start integrating it. Now it becomes available to you as a skill. Because what is a skill? A skill is, with this knowledge, I do this. So.
Okay, I think that's the question. Michael, actually, I'm have a curious about the difference between strategic thinking and systemic thinking. Do you mind to the difference between strategic thinking and the systemic thinking?
The difference between strategy thinking and systemic.
Systemic thinking is now looking, strategic thinking is looking at a system, and everything is a system anyway. So if it's your career and job, it's in a context, there's lots of variables. And so you're thinking systemically about that system. A family is a system. And so if you have a goal that you want to have a loving family or healthy family, then as you move from now to then, you're working with a lot of variables, the relationship between those variables, the time element in that. So systemic thinking is just a context for strategic thinking.
Okay, thank you.
And who's going to
If
ask me
there's
that? Who's going to ask me that surprising question? I'm waiting for somebody to ask me, what are the 2 kinds of thinking that are not strategic?
Oh.
The group here knows, because
Yeah.
we covered that. Abraham Maslow introduced the idea that above the lower needs and all the things I need with the deficiency motivation and how strategically I satisfy my survival needs and my security needs and my love and affection needs and my self needs, above that are the human needs. And you can strategically think about any one of those, whether it's knowledge or meaning, beauty or order, mathematics or excellence. You could think about those needs and how to make money from them. Like a musician could make money from music. And yet they're being needs. And he called it being cognition, being thinking. And this kind of thinking drops away strategic thinking. It drops away instrumental. I'm not doing it for any reason except to enjoy the music that I create. It's expressive. And whether it's knowledge or meaning or beauty or order or justice, just expressing it because it's valuable in and of itself. And so being cognition is thinking without strategy. You're doing it for the love of it. And the other kind of thinking that is without strategic thinking, although you could use it for that, is humor. And I'm trying to convince Geraldine that so much of my humor is just for the beauty of it.
Depends what kind of humor. If it's gross humor, no.
She thinks I have a strategy. What are you trying to do? Well,
I
like,
think following from,
go ahead.
yeah, like you said, like following your passion, for following from your statement.
Well, so there's two parts of following your passion. One is strategically doing what you need to do to follow the passion, to make it effective, productive, but also just enjoying the passion and the expressiveness of it and doing it for its own sake.
Okay, I think that's from Mikael. I think that's the one that Geraldine already asked about the meta program influence strategic thinking and how can
Yeah.
we leverage them.
Yes. So we've got two Zoom rooms that we're ready to do.
Yeah. So we are going to have a breakout room. So there's a question to discuss in the Zoom room. The first experience that I think you can do a photo shot so you can memorize it and discuss in the Zoom room. So how well would you say that you have developed your strategic thinking skills, or how well pleased are you with the ability to be a great architect of your future? That's the first question. That's the first point that you can discuss in the group. And the other one is that what aspect of strategic thinking would you like to learn more about and develop? Seeing the now, reality testing, imagining the then, forecasting and anticipating, problem divining, solving, or resourcing. And it's easier if you take the photo and have a discuss in the Zoom. Okay, so Muhammad, are you going to spread the Zoom?
How many want to do?
We'll do this 10 minutes in our Zoom rooms of 3 or 4 people. How well would you say that you've developed your strategic thinking skills? And how well pleased are you with the ability to be a great architect of your future? How well pleased are you with that ability? And then what aspect of strategic thinking would you like to learn more about? Seeing the now, imagining the then, problem solving, resource.
What they are in the room ready? Can those in the room do the same thing?
Of course.
So groups of 3 or 4, and we'll entertain these questions for the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, so short your mics while we're
Okay.
one of the, yes, yours is almost. Which the mic? They got the one.
Well, welcome back to everybody. We'll be ready for Zoom room number 2 in just a moment. Usually we take questions or comments, or how did that go for you? Welcome back.
Oh, really?
So Judy, go ahead and ask for questions or comments.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Michael. Okay. So welcome back, everyone. Do you have any questions or comment after the first discussion in the breakout room before we go to the second breakout room? Anyone?
So we need to get the microphone to you.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, the question number 2. It's very deep question, and when I was asking Omneya for what exactly she needs to be more a strategic thinker. Yes, when we are asking and digging deep, she discovered a lot of skills she needs to learn, and a new awareness for her also. She can tell you also what.
Okay, go ahead.
I think I'm a dreamer, not go to do anything with the strategic thinking. Please, the paper. Yes. You can hear, yes. I think when Amira asking me questions make me grounding, so I can think now. I want to define the problem very well, then I
Okay.
can take action to solve it. Good. And be patient. I will take a time to this.
Okay,
Yes,
good.
thank
Good.
you.
Okay. I think that's a question, Michael. It's from Xiao Hong that said that you mentioned second thinking is not strategic, thinking is humor, and she cannot get that. Why humor is not strategic? Could you elaborate on that?
Well, you can use it for humor, as any stand-up comic does, to get paid for the humor. But most of the time, people don't get paid for humor. And oftentimes we're doing it just for the fun of it. And so if you're a real serious person, you could hardly imagine that. But there's some of us who just enjoy the humor for the sake of humor. We have fun. And so it's recovering the childlikeness of enjoyment.
Okay, hope that answer your question.
That was a serious answer to a humorous question. I take humor seriously.
Humorous. Okay, that's another one. That what do you think about the ability by we can thus question is the key for develop the strategic thinking. The ability by question, I think, is the key for develop the strategic thinking. Ability. I think it's about how question can develop our strategy thinking. Do we freeze again? Checking. Do you all see Michael screen? No? Okay. Yeah, your question do that. Hi, Joyce.
Well, welcome back, everybody. We had a strategy of getting reconnected to you. That was then, this is now.
Yeah,
We're ready
think-
for, I think, go ahead, Yudi.
yeah, I think, oh, are we going to the second breakout room first before we go to the question?
Yeah, let's
that-
do that. Let's do
Yeah.
that. So in the Zoom room number 2, are you more of a dreamer or a performer? And what is your experience in needing more or less strategic thinking? Dreamers need more and performers need less. And what difference will this presentation make in your life this week? So now we're going to get real personal. Dreamers and performers. We all tend to perform, to emphasize one, sometimes to the exclusion of the other. So we'll take 10 minutes to explore that, and then we'll be back with questions, comments as we wrap up. Well, welcome back from the Zoom rooms. Any questions or comments? Anybody be interested in having a 3-day training on strategic thinking? That'll be the next training that'll be introduced next year, somewhere, sometime. We would like to make some announcements at the end here. Mohammed will be making an announcement about NSTT in just a moment. Next week or 2 weeks from now in Mexico, we have some trainings coming up, resilience and thinking for humans, as well as we'll do some assessment for meta counseling. And Adrian, do you want to say anything about that?
I think
Did
Adrian are leaving because there's a training that he need to attend or do.
Okay.
Maybe
The chart
others.
behind me on the board here, if you can zoom in on that board, Geraldine has twisted my arm, manipulated me with withholding blessings and pleasures, and to get me to do Meta NLP. So we're going to do Meta NLP. The title is Living Personal Empowerment. And we're going to do the first 3 days on neurology. And that'll be the source of personal empowerment. We'll do the next 3 days. We'll take a break, then do 3 more days on linguistics, the expression of personal empowerment, the magic of words. And then we'll take a break and do 3 more days of programming. And this will be the hidden dimension of personal empowerment. So the whole theme is personal empowerment. 9 days of what is Meta NLP, NLP practitioner. And that'll be in August, and it'll be here in Cairo, Egypt.
Yes. We're extending the invitation outside of Egypt as well to come to Egypt and experience it. Yeah, because it's really different experiencing it in person. So, yeah.
I told Geraldine one time and then never again. Because then all the trainers can carry it on and do it.
Yes, because Mohammed is going to be recording it. Yes. And even if it's recorded, we all know that it's different attending it in person. Plus, for the trainers here and the other trainers in NeuroSemantics, when people know that you've actually been attended it personally with Michael, it's different than, oh, I've attended it online. Yeah. So for trainers, it also builds credibility that you have a first-hand experience. So please do come join us in August. Yeah, for the Meta NLP prac.
So Mohammed.
He's back.
So a couple of quick announcements. Mike already said the main one, so the NLP, but we also have NSCT. So if you want to learn NLP and you also want to train it, then NSCT is the right training for you. And NSCT is coming up in Egypt next May. So it's from the 17th of May till the 31st. And we have very special offer for the meta coaching and NeuroSemantics community. Get in touch with your local institute and they will tell you exactly how to register and how to do that. Or you can also contact Lucid. So if you don't have a local institute in your country, I posted in the chat the contacts of Lucid Training. You can message them over WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger. But if you have a local institute in your country, get in touch with them because they can help you get long-term payment plans if they know you, if you're known. And as Michael mentioned, we also have the NLP training. Also get in touch with Lucid Training and we'll give you the very special offer. Because right now we have actually 50% discount for meta coaches and meta NeuroSemantics trainers and anyone in the community. So I have 50% discount, but that's only for a very limited time. And as Geraldine mentioned, we highly encourage you to come to attend in person here. Right. So those who are coming to attend in person, you will also get the recording for free. So you can use it as long as you want. And also, as Geraldine mentioned, as a trainer, if you have the recording of the training, it's very valuable because you can watch the part, then teach it, and watch and teach. It's very, very easy actually to get started as a trainer if you have the recording of the NLP training. So thank you for the announcements, and you have the contents of Lucid training. You can message us anytime if you have any questions.
And if you want to see the website, go to NSTT Egypt 2025. Is it .com or .net? .com. And you'll see a whole website devoted to NSTT. So back to you, Yudi.
Okay. Wow, we have a lot of great things happen this year. Okay, so I think it's the end of the session. Michael, do you want to close with a statement or something?
Well, you are a strategic thinker. The only question is how well you do it, because we're always thinking about now and then, and to be the architect of your future, to really design a future that's going to be bright and glorious for you, full of love, full of healing, full of compassion. Think strategically, and you can do that. It's within your powers, and may you do that and enrich your life.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Thank you, Geraldine. Thank you, Muhammad. It's a really wonderful session, and to all your strategy, be a great strategic thinking. So, good night, good evening, good morning.
Morning.
Right.
Okay, thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you. Keep well.